just waiting for you.
Hey, Stephanie, how's it going down there in Florida?
Great.
You warm enough or what? You think you need a sweater?
Yeah, it's actually quite cool, but it's lovely. I
Oh,
love
it's
it.
nice and cool, is it, huh? We've got 2 feet of snow up here.
Oh,
But anyway, thank you so much for calling into the BFC podcast, the number one fishing podcast in the Northeast. When I met your dad, Tim, in Guatemala for the tournament in December, somehow our podcast came up at dinner, and it turns out that he fished with one of our past guests, Fred Waitskin, during his time in Cairns. And your father and I really bonded. We have a very similar sense of humor. I remember having more laughs with him than anyone else on the entire trip. And whenever we weren't fishing, I would actively seek him out to just crack jokes. And I kept asking him, and some would say I was even begging him to come on the podcast, and all he kept saying is, "Oh, you don't want me. My daughter is the legend." So I was like, "Okay, but let's have both of you on." So that's what we're gonna
that's
do.
sweet.
And
Yeah.
one of the highlights of that trip for me was at the awards ceremony after I gave my speech after we took first place by 11 fish. When I sat down next to your dad, he smiled at me and said, "That speech was fucking great." And we both started cracking up. And I will never forget that. It was just the icing on the cake for the whole trip. We were real underdogs. We were the only people from the north. Everybody else down there was Florida, Louisiana, Texas, and
Sail fishermen.
they didn't think we were going to do shit. And guess what? On the second day, our boat actually died in the marina for an hour and a half, and we still took first place on the second day by one fish. And
I believe it.
people were actually a little skeptical about that, but hey,
I'm sure they called it beginner's luck, right?
yeah,
Newbie blood. I don't know.
definitely. Anyway, enough about that tournament. Let's talk about you. So, did you ever want to become, let's just say a scientist? And Tim was like, "Not under my roof. You're going to be a pro angler. Here's the rod and reel. Get out in the backyard and start trying to cast into the solo cup." Or did you want to pursue a career in fishing from a young age, just like based on your own passions?
I don't think he ever necessarily encouraged me to become a fisherman, like as my primary occupation. I think he kind of knew that's really difficult in and of itself, especially as a resort owner himself. So I think he just wanted to make sure that I could catch a fish on my own always. So growing up, I had to go to Fins and Feathers with him, of course, and I had to make sure to catch sails on, 20-pound, 12, 10, 8, 2, whatever was crazy. And I had to make
Wow.
sure to catch them all or else I wasn't going to pass the test. But I'm glad I went through that because it definitely helped later on. But he encouraged me to do whatever I was into. And I would definitely loved dance and art and theater and things that were not related to fishing at all. And I went to acting school and for college at NYU, and his mother was an actress, so I think he really liked that. But at the same time, when I was trying to become an actor in New York, I was not making half as much money as I was in tournament fishing. So I kind of asked myself, like, what are you doing? So I just started tournament fishing with my dad and asked him to show me what that was all about, because we really hadn't done that until I was in my 20s. And then he was at a place where he was pretty retired and wanted to go and do that as well. He wasn't a huge tournament guy other than hosting recreational ones, but not really money tournaments. And so he entered with me, and the first one we entered together was in Costa Rica, and we won it. So I just felt like the universe was telling me to keep fishing, and so I just did until it wasn't telling me to do that anymore.
So you won your first billfish competition tournament that you ever entered.
Yeah,
Me
yeah,
too.
at Crocodile
We
Bay.
both belong to a very special club.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's how we got hooked, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I got to tell you, after catching 63 sailfish in 3 days down there, uh,
Mm.
I know my listeners are going to be like this spoiled brat, but
Oh, I
it's
know.
it's a little difficult to go back to the to anything else. I
So
mean,
true. And you should have seen it in the early 90s down
oh
there
my
when I was
God,
little.
I
And
can
it
only
was like
imagine.
nonstop. We were catching fish off socks and beer cans and banana
Socks.
peels just to prove it, you know?
Oh my God. What's the weirdest object you guys ever used and caught a fish with?
Probably a sock. I was pretty stunned at that. Although at the same time, I mean, that does look like a bait. So,
Yeah, I guess it depends on the
yeah.
color. I don't know.
How long the sock is, I don't know.
How long the person's been wearing it. Does it have a scent
Oh,
to
God.
it? You know.
Who knows
Um,
whose it could have been. I
so,
liked catching one off a banana peel just because I can't tell you how many times a guy is,
oh, that's
tried
superstition,
to
right?
ban me off his boat for bringing bananas, and it's like, come on, dude. But I get it. It's people love the superstition. That's fine.
Yeah. We've actually got a design coming out that I think you're gonna love about
Uh,
no bananas on the boat. Does your dad believe in that superstition too, or are you guys both
nah,
just like, nah, we'll catch fish no matter
he don't
what?
care.
He don't
Yeah.
care. I love it. I love it. So let me guess the age that you caught your first sailfish. I'm gonna
Okay.
guess 6.
My first fish, but it wasn't a sailfish.
Okay. First sail 12.
13.
Oh, I was
Close.
close.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is amazing. That is so cool. And you've caught him on the fly too, I assume.
Oh, of course. I mean, fins and feathers. What is it?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
it's in the name.
So I guess I could assume that you would prefer fly fishing for him over just trolling for him.
No, I love a good bait and switch
Yeah.
situation, but that's more marlin fishing. But it depends where and what kind of sail fishing we're doing. If kite fishing is awesome, I love doing that with Ray Rocher in Miami. Um,
Oh, what boat is Ray on again?
Miss Britt,
Miss Britt. Yeah, I fished with him once. I've,
yeah, we
I've,
did all the tournaments.
I actually lost a giant sailfish with him. We were filming a commercial for McCormick and Schmick Spices, and they flew us down there to go fishing. And like first I lost a giant kingfish right by the boat. It popped. Then I
Congrats.
hooked this sailfish. I see it jump 3 times, and then it was gone. And then
Mm.
Ray goes to me, I've only seen this bad of luck one other time in my whole career. I was like, oh, yeah? And he goes, yeah, it was the only other time there were cameras around on the boat. I was like,
Uh-huh.
great, awesome.
Hmm.
But yeah, that was interesting. I would love to fish on that boat again. Those guys are really, really good.
Oh yeah, they're great. And Ray's a seasoned camera television captain now, so I'm sure his luck has changed. He's all over the TV. So
Oh, he is? That's
yeah,
cool. That's really
he's
cool.
good at it.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you this. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most, how competitive are you?
10 for sure.
Do you think even more? Like if it went
I grew
higher?
up with an older brother. I don't know. It's
Oh,
just
there
kind
you
of
go.
in our blood. And it was into sports growing up. I mean, it's in there, for sure.
What sports did you play?
Tennis and golf and track and field and volleyball and I don't know, anything. I was really energetic.
Nice.
How times
That's
have changed.
that's cool. So does your brother fish too? Is he into it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did. Growing up was more, he's very, very smart guy, my brother. He does like stem cell policy, a lot of stuff in DC. He's a very important guy. So he's busy up there. But he did a lot when we were younger. We did a lot of the father-son tournaments at Fins and Feathers with my dad. So that was important for the whole family. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's
I mean, we
great.
all know how to fish. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So he's got bigger priorities than what color teaser to put out right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I
He's the
got you.
smart one.
I
Uh-huh.
got you. So where do you think the competitive nature comes from? Besides, like your brother. Like, do you think it has
Oh,
anything to do with being a female in a male dominated industry? Do you think that plays a role in it? Like,
I guess a little bit in the beginning, just because there wasn't many of us. There's a lot of women in the fishing industry now, and I hate being pinned against another woman, which happens a lot with men running tournaments, because that's just the narrative they want to play. And a lot of times women get treated like monkeys in these situations, like perform, dance for me, monkey. And it's like, we're just the same as you guys. We're all just trying to fish. It's not like I'm trying to necessarily beat one girl or another, but um, I'm proud and happy when there's lots of other fishing women in the fishing tournaments, and I guess I get competitive no matter what, just because my dad's competitive. It's a family thing.
Yeah, yeah, it runs in the
Uh,
blood.
yeah, yeah. But I
Definitely.
guess the girls thing never necessarily like got my blood boiling, the way people kind of want to perceive it. It's exciting to have more women in it because it just means that people are watching and they're interested, and that's the cool part.
Yeah, I feel like in the past year alone, just looking at Instagram, I've noticed quite a few more female anglers popping up, which is really cool to see. Definitely.
Yeah, yeah, and there's of course all the Instagram models that just pose with the fish, of course, too, which is a trend, and that's
Yeah,
there's a place for that. There's a
that
place
their
for
boyfriend caught.
everything.
Yeah. Oh my
But
god.
it's
Does
for
that
social
drive you
media.
crazy as like a real fisherwoman when you see that shit?
I mean, I can't ever necessarily judge and say she never caught that fish. Why she has to take it wearing nothing, hey, that's your personal preference. But I just think it's a little distracting from like necessarily the goal, which is like to be about the fish and like the preservation of fish
Yeah, and
rather
also
than
respecting the fish, Like, I
yeah.
mean, it's a little much,
But hey,
but
I'm all about going out in your bikini, having some beers, and having a good time too.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Definitely. I love going out in my beer and having some bikinis. Um,
There's a thin line, I think, and you know it. So
definitely.
yeah.
I don't even want to talk about that thin line. But so 2013 and 2014, back-to-back
Mm,
milestone years for you. Tell me a little bit
yeah.
about that.
You know, I don't know if anybody else feels this way, but I have a big thing about like numbers. I just feel like I see 1111 all the time, 555, 666, like just the thing about numbers. And that whole year was just like 1018 on 1018. So we caught a 1,018-pound black marlin on October 18th. And then after that, it was like 656 was the World Cup marlin, 767 was another marlin after that. That wasn't for a tournament, but um, then of course 1111 for my World Cup. I mean for my world record fish. And then after that,
Wait,
we
wait,
went to
wait. Hold
Bermuda.
up. I'm gonna let you finish.
Yeah.
But world record fish. Let's talk about that real quick.
Well, my dad and I looked through the record books and we saw that a women's 50-pound black marlin was doable. And the only place that it was going to be doable was the Great Barrier Reef, where you have like a standard of 1,000-pound fish.
Yeah.
And I had been practicing with light line and light tackle for like that whole year, really. And we just thought it'd be something fun to do because we were going anyways to see the reef. The captain was into it. We kind of decided like right before to give it a shot. And it was the last day of the whole trip. Right after that, my dad caught the biggest fish any of us had ever seen. It was definitely way over 1,200, I
Whoa.
think. And then the next day, last 10 minutes of the whole trip, we hooked up to a 1,000-pounder. We knew she was big enough. Stayed with her for a few hours. There was a lot of things that could have gone wrong, but it didn't, and it all went right. And somehow we ended up with a 914 kilogram, which equals 1,111.1 pounds, which is wild.
Whoa. So you've caught two granders?
Technically, yeah, I guess. The first grander, there was
What?
hands all over the rod, so don't even count that as just mine. There was a lot of us involved.
Oh, come on.
But the 1111, I
Count
mean,
it.
we had to world record fish, so that we were by the books. We were
Oh yeah, yeah.
IGSA
True, true,
all the
true.
way,
Definitely, definitely,
So yes,
definitely.
I
Yeah.
caught that one. Yeah.
That is so cool. Oh my god. There's so many accomplishments. I mean, how do you decide which one's
Oh.
your favorite? Like which one you're most proud of?
Well, how could that not be the most? I mean,
Right? I
that
mean, what
was just,
gets
and
better
with
than
my
that?
dad, I mean, and off the Great Barrier Reef, I mean, it was just everything came together. It was the universe was definitely just working in my favor, and
Love it when that
when you are
happens.
with your family too, it's like everything is just more important. So having my dad there was just massive for both of us. I don't think he's ever been more proud in his life. So
Oh,
we have that,
that's
Yeah.
great. Um,
Yeah.
let me ask you. My mind just went blank for a sec because I just can't wrap my head around two granders in your life. And wasn't this all before you were 30? Like,
Yeah.
oh my god,
Well, but I also
insanity.
went hard. I went in and I went hard. I fished nonstop for a few years because that's what I wanted to do, and I had the chance to do it, and I knew my dad's health was going to eventually decline, and he was going to have the last few years, to really fish with me and teach me everything he knew or knows. And I just took advantage of that. I wanted to make sure to get to know my dad before anything. So
Yeah.
that was kind of
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
No, time with pops is very important. I just lost my dad in November, and
Oh, I'm sorry.
he was
Hard,
my best friend, and
right?
I still wake up in the morning months later. I would call him every morning, and I still wake up sometimes now and reach for my phone
He's
to
there,
call him, and I'm just like shit.
right?
So
Hey, that's
that
probably
time
him. He's
is
there.
priceless, man. And
Yeah,
I really believe that he was with me down there in that Guatemala tournament at
I
Pacific
bet you.
Fins.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you won the Blue Marlin Cup, right?
The World Cup.
The
Yeah, that is
World
the
Cup.
coolest tournament, and I love that tournament. So
That
I'm
was
excited to
another
get
one
there
of my
to fish it.
questions is what's your favorite tournament?
I love that one because you fish it anywhere in the world on July 4th, from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. in your time zone, and whoever catches the biggest blue marlin that day wins the whole pot. And there's
Wow.
one Calcutta that you can get into, but other than that, it's just like one big pot, and it's a smaller entry fee than most tournaments, so it's kind of cool. And then it's just you're fishing against everybody in the whole world, from Australia to Cape Verde to Bahamas to Texas to the Gulf to it's just everyone. So
And
yeah,
then
we won it twice actually.
you've got like the weigh-ins coming in at different times because the
Yeah.
different time zones and everything.
hmm
That's
And
really cool.
when we won it, we were in Hawaii, and that's the last time zone. So we were the very last boat to
Oh,
fish.
you were the dream killers. You
Yeah,
crushed
yeah.
everybody's dreams right at the end. I
Oh.
love it. Oh my god, that's awesome.
Yeah, we even went
Oh my
past
god, that's
like
awesome.
when lines were out. Well, it's not really lines out. You're allowed to stay with a fish that you've hooked before lines out. So there was a lot of people. All the boats from the tournament were just surrounding us, and there was a helicopter above us, like waiting to pull this fish in. So it was a pretty epic, wild ride.
Wow, they had a helicopter actually like watching like
Yeah, they were ready.
wow, that's crazy.
Well, Hawaii's very prideful, especially about their fishing, and like they were really, really excited to bring the World Cup back to Hawaii.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So who like what countries took second and third? Do you remember?
Second was actually another guy out of the marina in Hawaii.
Oh
Uh,
god.
but there is no second and third. There's only one pot, so that's kind of the fun
Oh, that's
thing.
it. It's just
Yeah.
winner takes all.
Well, there's one Calcutta, so if you don't get into that Calcutta, but you win the whole thing, you get one kind of a bunch of money, but then you get the Calcutta can go to a second. There is a second place if you are not in that Calcutta as the winner. So we did win that Calcutta in Bermuda a few years later with Ray Rocher actually, because the winners who were in I want to say it was Cape Verde. They did not enter. So that was one
They
time where there
didn't
were two
enter and
winners.
they had a winning fish.
They didn't enter the Calcutta, and they had a winning fish.
Ah,
Yes.
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's funny how that
Yeah.
works. I actually in
Politics.
that Pacific Fins tournament, I purposely didn't even enter the Calcutta because every time I even go on like a party boat up here for like
Mm.
fluke or whatever, if I enter the
hmm
pool, I'm not catching a big fish. If I don't enter the pool, I always catch the biggest fish. So I'd rather catch the
uh
biggest fish and win the money, honestly. So
Well, if there's anything I learned about sail fishing tournaments in Florida with Ray Rocher, is the one category you don't get in is the one that you're going to win. So you got to go across the board, or you don't go at all. But hey, but that's if you're in for
interesting.
the money. It's gambling, right? That's just how
Yeah,
you gamble.
yeah. So how much is a buy-in for the Blue Marlin World Cup?
I think it's 5,000 for a regular entry and 3,000 for the Calcutta or something like that. Or maybe it could
And
be
that's like
reversed. I can't remember.
5,000 per person on the team.
No, for the whole boat.
Oh, for the whole boat. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
great.
So what does the payout look like for that?
Depending, obviously, how many boats get in, but it's somewhere between a little under 1 million to over 1 million, like somewhere in that ballpark. Yeah.
And how does that get split up? Like, does the captain get the most of it? Does the boat owner get the most of it? Like, how does that work?
Well, if there's anything I definitely recommend if you're ever going to enter a big money tournament, is you discuss all of that in detail in writing before the tournament, so
Mm.
everybody knows what they're in for. And you decide, it's there. Everyone has to come to those terms on their own because every boat's different. But it's what you feel is right. I think it's obviously a team sport, and you can't do it alone. So I think everyone should get a sizable cut. Obviously, you're taking the gamble by putting in your money as an angler if that's the case. But you can't be there without the captain and the mates. You can't do that job. So you decide what you think is best, but I'm not going to tell people what that is.
Gotcha. So let me ask you this. How do you feel about large billfish being killed annually for these cash tournaments? Like, are you conflicted about that at all?
Only in the way that the story's told to the public, to the masses. It's unfortunately that those few fish get photographed and put in papers, and the story doesn't really get told about migration patterns and the amount of fish being taken in these tournaments as opposed to the amount of fish being taken by commercial fishing boats, which is really the problem. And if only people knew, they'd be outraged at these commercial boats. But one fish, I should say, from a big money tournament in this place or another place, it's minimal compared to the devastation that you can do commercial fishing. So it's tough. They're obviously the fish. There's lots of times where they're not going to survive, and it's not the greatest thing as a fisherman to see that happen. But hopefully, most fishermen will donate and give back, so that it's not just taking from the ocean; you're also giving back to it.
Yeah. So when you won that tournament, what like happened with the meat of that fish? Like, how was that dispersed?
Oh, in Hawaii, it's sacred over there. So everybody came down to the marina and took some. Every part of it gets eaten over in Hawaii.
Good.
But we also donate a lot of money every time we win.
Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't you donate 100 G's after you won to
Wild Oceans?
Yeah, to Wild Oceans. Yeah.
Yeah, it's important. Well, Wild Oceans it used to be National Coalition for Marine Conservation, so NCMC, and that is the oldest billfish conservation group in the country.
Wow.
But it's got a little bit of a refurbishing, and now it's Wild Oceans, and it's a lot of policy work. It's not really sexy to talk about because it's not a lot of like fun tournament things or fun membership perks. We're paying people to go to policy meetings and to get things actually done in Washington D.C. where things can actually get changed. So it's hard to really explain it thoroughly, but fish stocks is kind of also a controversial topic for a lot of people because a lot of fishermen think there's plenty and lots of fishermen see it change over time. So there's a lot of conflicting opinions, but policy it's hard. It's politics.
Yeah, it is. It's funny the way that those pictures work of the big fish being strung up and nobody really knows. My question is, who's getting paid to research how these fish reproduce? Like, do we know how they reproduce or where they go? Or
well, the IGFA, International Game Fish Association, has a lot of science and programs dedicated to studying fish. They do the Grander Watch, it's the one where they travel the whole world. They put satellite tags in fish, and they see which fish went the farthest. And that fish, there's like a prize and stuff, but it's also for the science to see where they're going, where they're migrating, where they're sticking around, where they're, that's who I would refer you to for all the science behind billfish migration and movement and reproduction.
It blows my mind. I mean, like, are they born live? Do you know that? Or their egg, like, what happens?
Well, have you ever seen those picture of tiny sailfish in people's hands?
Yeah, so
they
born
look like
live?
fully grown. Those are, yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. And it's so insane to think that, like, the chances of that small little animal growing to be like a 10-foot Pacific sail with all those odds against it is just, it's really incredible. I can't even wrap my head around it. It's like, what are the chances,
Yeah, unfortunately, I think water temperature changes and certain tides and algae blooms and things are affecting it negatively, but hopefully we can figure that all out,
Yeah. Speaking of water changes, I noticed that you've been to Cabo Blanco in Peru.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is, for those of you who don't know Cabo Blanco, it's the place that inspired Hemingway to write The Old Man and the Sea after he fished there, if I'm not mistaken. At one point, there was definitely a super exclusive fishing club there, but nowadays...
Biggest fish ever caught there.
Yeah, the biggest fish ever caught there, yeah.
1876 or something like that, I can't remember.
It was a 1,500 pounder, right?
1,800.
1,800?
Yeah, I mean, the
Oh my
pictures of it, people
God.
have kind of looked at and said, I don't know if that was really 18, but that's what it was at the time, and that's what it is in the record book. So we'll go
Wow.
with it.
Oh my God. How long do you think that one was?
It's in the record book. I should know, to be honest, but
I gotta check this stuff
it's
out.
huge. Yeah,
Even
but
though,
Cabo Blanco is incredible. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I saw you cut a wahoo there. It looked like a nice one.
Only, I would say, 60 to 100 pound wahoo were everywhere we went. Any other
Everywhere.
boat. We were doing a black marlin expedition.
Uh
We
huh.
were trying to see if the big blacks were still there. We went with a bunch of big IGFA guys and Peter Wright and my dad and a few other guys, Rob Kramer and such. And we were looking for black marlin, but we just ended up with huge, huge wahoo, which was fun,
That's
especially if you're
so
a wahoo
cool.
fisherman.
They are one of my favorite fish. I have a 6 foot pyrographically burned wahoo on my
Mm,
wall. Yeah, they're so cool. They can go from 0 to 60 in what, like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and then they can
yeah.
stop just as fast and do the head shake.
Hmm.
And oh man, I love that fish. And they taste so good. And you can't find them anywhere up here. So
Oh,
anytime I can get it on a menu or anything when I'm down in Florida, I always
right.
feast out on it. I love wahoo.
Just fish with wire.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
I've lost plenty of them on by the boat.
So, do you think Cabo Blanco is like? Do you think it's overfished, or do you think the Humboldt Current has moved north a bit? Like, or do you think it's a combo of both?
Probably a combo of both, but who knows? It was so long ago that it was such a great fishing hotspot, and that's happened to a few places in the world. So, will
Yeah,
it come back? I hope so, but obviously things aren't looking great.
yeah, yeah. And if it comes back, probably be kept top secret till it's wiped out again.
Well, I don't know. There is a guy there by the resort named Inca Terra who's trying to bring back the fishing, the marina there, and the fish. That being a fishing capital in the world. So who knows what might happen? You put enough money into a place, and maybe you can go find the spot where they're actually at. That's the other thing is there's not a lot of boats fishing there. So how do you know if the fish are there or not? You only got a few guys out there.
Yeah,
Get the fleet that's in the Gulf, and you'll find them
yeah,
real
you'll
quick.
find them definitely. Yeah, that's funny. A lot of pangas out there too.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
I do apologize. I have a 5-month-old son, so he's given me quite some time, and I don't know how much more I got left.
Okay. Let me ask you: is there anywhere you haven't fished that you'd like to? I know you've been to Alaska. You've
Yes.
been all over.
No, there's some cool Ghana. I'd love to go to Ghana.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, let's see. There's some place off India that's supposed to have really great bill fishing. I'm trying to think the real exotic places that people are still doing the expeditions to kind of figure out. And there's some place off India I know, and gosh,
Oh my God, that'd be so
Brazil would
cool to
be,
do an expedition to India for billfish. Who gets to do this stuff? Like,
or even just like in the Mediterranean.
I'm good
Just
at
go somewhere.
carrying bags. I'll go. Like, I'll carry everything. No one will have to touch
Mm.
anything. But
Mm.
all right, let me ask one last question.
Hmm.
Sorry to keep you, but
No
if you
problem.
could give one piece of advice to up and coming female anglers, what would it be? And let me be a little bit more specific. Female
Okay.
anglers that are attempting to make a living off of the sport in one way or another.
I would find someone that's doing what you want to do, whether it be the type of fishing or if you want to work on a boat or if you want to own a lodge or whatever it is in the fishing industry. If you just want to be an angler, find an angler that you think is what you want to do. Ask them all about it because now with social media you can find anyone and just learn the ins and outs because we kind of envision how it's supposed to be in our minds, but it's never that way until you actually get in there and do it. And that's the only way to figure out what kind of fishing you really want to do. So you just got to get in there and just ask somebody that you admire. Yeah.
just
Great
waiting
advice.
for
Great advice
you.
for women and men alike. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah.
I wish we had more time to talk. I feel like we could talk forever.
Well,
But thank you so much for coming on the show. And I'll be talking to your dad in about an hour.
yeah.
And I can't wait for everybody to hear these episodes. This is great stuff.
Oh, thank you. It's been nice. We'll talk soon.
Yeah, we will. And enjoy your day in Florida and get some sun for us New Yorkers, please.
Oh, yeah. Currently. Thank you.
And go fishing, too.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.